Welcome to The Explainer. Every so often, a story comes along in the world of education that just makes you go, wow. Today, that story is about Khyber Medical University. How does a university that's basically brand new become a regional powerhouse in just over a decade? Let's get into it.
All right, so let's rewind the clock to 2007. Now, you got to remember, in the world of universities, some of which are centuries old, 2007 is, well, it's basically yesterday. This is the year Khyber Medical University, or KMU, was born, and we're talking a true startup from scratch in Peshawar, Pakistan.
Okay, so flash forward to today. That one single institution, it's now the heart of this huge, sprawling network. Think of it like a web, and at its center is KMU, shaping the education of over 74,000 students. Just let that number sink in for a second. 74,000? It's absolutely staggering.
Now, growth like this, especially for a public university, is, well, it's almost unheard of. It's the kind of thing that makes you scratch your head and ask the big question, the one we're really diving into today. How on earth did they pull this off? How did they expand so phenomenally, so fast?
So, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this transformation. And trust me, the numbers we're about to see are pretty jaw-dropping.
Okay, check this out. Just in the last 4 years, the number of students in their own institutes more than tripled. Financially, they went from relying on outside funding to being 100% self-reliant. That is a massive deal. And then there's the physical footprint. They went from just one main campus to a whole network of 18 campuses. Just wow.
A change this big, this fast, it just doesn't happen by accident, right? There has to be a driving force, an architect behind it all. So who was it? Well, it really seems to boil down to one key leader.
And here he is. A huge part of this success story is credited to the university's youngest ever vice-chancellor, Professor Dr. Zia-ul-Haq. People see him as the real engine behind this whole journey, and you can just feel the passion when he talks about it, calling their progress, and I quote, nothing short of extraordinary.
But hold on, his track record is it's on another level. This isn't just about being a good manager. We are talking about someone who received one of Pakistan's highest civilian honors, the Sitara-e-Imtiaz. He's won national awards for being the best teacher and the best researcher. And if that's not enough, he's secured over 6 billion rupees in research grants. That's the kind of leadership that doesn't just manage a university, it transforms it.
So, anatomy of an education giant. I love that. Let's look at how this vision and leadership actually built the structure of the university. Because like we said, we're way beyond just one campus now.
Okay, get this. The university's power isn't just within its own walls. It's amplified through this massive network of over 220 affiliated colleges. So think of KMU as the sun, and all these other institutions are planets in its orbit, looking to it for standards and guidance. It's created this whole educational ecosystem, with KMU right at the heart of it all.
Now let's look at the institutes the university runs itself. The number more than doubled, which is impressive, sure, but that's not the real story here. Look at the focus. They went from being stuck in one city, Peshawar, to being strategically spread out all across the province. They're literally taking education to the people, to the places that need it most. That's a game changer.
I love this idea of it being a healthcare education nervous system. It's a perfect description, right? It connects all these different parts of the region from the big city hubs to the more remote areas. And get this, their ambition isn't stopping there. They're already planning to expand internationally with a campus in Kabul. Incredible.
Okay, but building a ton of campuses is one thing. The real question is, what are you doing with it? This story goes way beyond the classroom. It's about how all this growth actually translates into real-world impact on people's health.
And wow, is there a perfect example for this? Let's talk about their public health reference lab. When the COVID-19 pandemic exploded onto the scene, this lab, which was Dr. Zia's brainchild, by the way, became an absolute lifeline for the entire region. They scaled up like you wouldn't believe, handling thousands of tests every single day. They weren't just part of the pandemic response, they were a cornerstone of it.
All right, you might want to sit down for this next one, because it is absolutely mind-blowing. The university's research program is so successful, it now brings in more money from grants than the university's entire budget to run itself. Just let that sink in. Their research isn't just some academic side hustle. It's a full-blown economic engine that's actually funding the university. That is insane. and it just keeps going. They are out there on the front lines, really making a difference. We're talking building new hospitals, pioneering the country's first ever surveys on really tough topics like gender-based violence, launching brand new institutes for things like mental health. And here's something amazing. Their research into violence against doctors and nurses actually led to new laws being passed to protect them. That's research that saves lives.
So, okay, we've seen the incredible growth. We've seen the very real impact on the ground. So what's the big takeaway here? What does this all mean for the future of healthcare in Pakistan?
Here's what I think you should really take away from all this. KMU has essentially created a blueprint, a model that other places can follow. They've proven that a public university doesn't just have to be a place for classes. It can be the main engine driving health transformation for an entire region. And they've shown that you can grow incredibly fast and have a high-quality impact at the same time.
And all of this leaves us with one big, final question, doesn't it? When you look at a country like Pakistan, with all its complex health challenges, where are the solutions going to come from? Where do we even begin to look?
Well, the answer, it seems, might be right here. It's in institutions like KMU. Because they're not just sitting back and waiting for the future to happen, they are actively out there, right now, building it, one campus, one research project, and one community at a time.